Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Aurobindaya. Om Anandamayi. Om Chaitanyamayi. Om Satyamayi. Om Parame. Om Peace, Peace, Peace. Peace to the mind. Peace to the vital. Peace to the physical. Peace to the emotions. Peace to all. Page 687. We read already 5 or 10 lines, so now we have to start with O King Smith, clang on still, thy toil begun. Well does to one in thy strong smithy of life. Thy fine curve jewelled hilt called Savitri, thy blade's exultant smile named Satyavan. Fashioned to beauty, point us through the world. Break not the lair before the song is found. Are there not still unnumbered chants to weave? O subtle-souled musician of the years, play out what thou hast fluted on my stops. Arise from the strain, their first wild plaint divined, and that discover which is yet unsung. I know that I can lift man's soul to God. I know that He can bring the immortal down. Our will labors permitted by thy will, and without thee an empty roar of storm. A senseless whirlwind is the Titan's force, and without thee a snare, the strength of gods. Let not the inconscient gulf swallow man's race, that through earth's ignorance struggles towards thy light. O Thunderer, with the lightnings of the soul, give not to darkness and to death thy Son. Achieve thy wisdom's hidden firm decree, and the mandate of thy secret worldwide love. Her words failed, lost in thought's immensities, which sees them at the limits of their cry, and hid meaning in the distances that stare to more than ever speech as one. Which all beings form that move in space, the shore that all can see but never reach. Heaven's light visits sometimes. Faint seeds of light and bliss bear sorrowful flowers. Faint harmonies caught a miracled happiness, thrill her and pass half shaped to mind and sense. Above her little finite steps she feels, careless of knot or pause, worlds which weave out a strange perfection beyond law and rule, a universe of self-found felicity, an inexpressible rhythm of timeless beats, the many momented heartbeats of the one, magic of the boundless harmonies of self, order of the freedom of the infinite, the wonder plastics of the absolute. There is all truth and there the timeless bliss, but hers are fragments of a star lost gleam. For long on earth, there are eye glimpses, not the lasting sight. A few can climb to unperishing sun. A few can climb to an unperishing sun or live on the edges of the mystic moon and channel to earth mind the wizard ray. The heroes and the demigods are few, to whom the close immortal voices speak, and to their acts the heavenly clan are near. Few are the silence in which truth is heard, unveiling the timeless utterance in her deeds. Few are the splendid moments of the seers. Heaven's call is rare, rarer heart that heeds. The doors of light are sealed to the common mind, and earth's need nail to earth the human mass. Only in an uplifting hour of stress, men answer to the touch of greater things. Or raised by some strong hand to breathe heaven air, they slide back to the mud from which they climbed, in the mud of which they are made, whose law they know, they joy in safe return to a friendly base. And though something in them weeps for glory lost, and greatness murdered, they accept their fall. To be the common man they think the best. To live as others live is their delight. For most are built on nature's early plan and owe small debt to a superior plane. The human average to their level pitch, a thinking animal's material range. In the long, ever mounting hierarchy, in the stark economy of cosmic life, each creature to its appointed task and place is bound by his nature's form, his spirit's force. If this were easily disturbed, it would break. If this were easily disturbed, it would break. The settled balance of created things. The perpetual order of the universe would tremble off the middle way by heavy toil and slow Ionic steps, ring the bright miraculous fringe of God into the glory of the Oversoul. My will, my call is there in men and things, but the inconscient lies at the world's great back and draws to its breast of night and death and sleep. Imprisoned in its dark and dumb abyss, a little consciousness it lets escape. He seeks through words and images of truth and pouring on surfaces and brute outsides, or dipping cautious feet in shallow seas. Even his knowledge is an ignorance. He is barred out from his own inner depths. He cannot look on the face of the unknown. How shall he see with the omniscience eyes? How shall he will with the omnipotence force? O too compassionate and eager dawn, leave to the circling aeon's tardy pace, and to the working of the inconscient will, leave to its imperfect light the earthly rays. All shall be done by the long act of time, although the race is bound by its own kind. The soul in man is greater than his fate. Above the wash and surge of time and space, disengaging from the cosmic commonality by which all life is kin in grief and joy, delivered from the universal law, the sun-like single and transcendent spirit can blaze its way through mind's barrier wall and burn alone in the eternal sky, inhabitant of a wide and endless calm. O flame, withdraw into thy luminous self, or else return to thy original might. On a seer summit above thought and world, partner of my unawed eternity, be one with the infinity of my power, for thou art the world mother and the bride. Out of the fruitless yearning of earth's life, out of a feeble, unconvincing dream, recovering wings that cross infinity, pass back into the power from which thou camest, to that thou canst uplift thy formless flight. Thy heart can rise from its unsatisfied beats and feel the immortal and spiritual joy of a soul that never lost felicity. Lift up the fallen heart of love which flutters, cast down desire's abyss into the gulfs, forever rescued out of nature's shapes. Discover what the aimless cycles want, there intertwined with all thy life has meant, here vainly sought in a terrestrial form. Break into eternity thy mortal mold, melt, lightning, into thy invisible flame. Page 692. Clasp, ocean, deep into thyself, thy wave, happy forever in the embosoming surge. Grow one with the still passion of the depths, then shalt thou know the lover and the loved, leaving the limits dividing him and thee. Receive him into boundless Savitri. Lose thyself into infinite Satyavan. O miracle, where thou beganst, there cease. But Savitri answered to the radiant God, in vain thou tempest with solitary bliss. Two spirits saved out of a suffering world, my soul and his indissolubly linked in the one task for which our lives were born, to raise the world to God in deathless light, to bring God down to the world on earth we came, to change the earthly life to life divine. I keep my will to save the world, and even the charm of thy alluring voice, O blissful Godhead, cannot seize and snare. I sacrifice not earth to appear fields, because there dwelt the Eternal's vast idea and his dynamic will in men and things. So only could the enormous scene begin. Whence came this profitless wilderness of stars, this mighty barren wheeling of the suns? Who made the soul of futile of life in time, planted a purpose and a hope in the heart, set nature to a huge and meaningless task, or planned a million aeon efforts waste? What force condemned to birth and death and tears these conscious creatures crawling on the globe? If earth can look up the light of heaven and hear an answer to her lonely cry, not vain their meeting, nor heaven's touch a snare. If thou and I are true, the world is true. Although thou hide thyself behind thy works, to be is not a senseless paradox. Page 693. Since God has made earth, earth must make in her God. What hides within her breast, she must reveal. I claim thee for the world that thou hast made. If man lives bound by his humanity, if he is tied forever to his pain, let a greater being then arise from man, the superhuman with eternal mate, and the immortal shine through earthly forms. Elsewhere creation vain and this great world, a nothing that in time's moment seems to be, but I have seen through the insentient mask. I have felt a secret spirit stir in things carrying out body of the growing God. It looks through veiling forms at veilless truth. It pushes back the curtain of the gods. It climbs towards its own eternity. But the God answered to the woman's heart, O living power of the incarnate Word, all that the Spirit has dreamed, thou canst create. Thou art the force by which I made the worlds. Thou art my vision and my will and voice. But knowledge too is thine. The world plan thou knowest, and the tardy process of the pace of time. In the impetuous drive of thy heart of flame, in thy passion of deliver man and earth. Indignant and the impediments of time, and the slow evolution's sluggard steps, lead not the spirit in an ignorant world to dare too soon the adventure of the light, pushing the bound and slumbering God in man, awakened mid the ineffable silences into endless vistas of the unknown and unseen, across the last confines of the limiting mind and the superconscious perilous borderline into the danger of the infinite. Page 694. But if thou wilt not wait for time and God, do then thy work and force thy will on fate, as I have taken from thee my load of night, and taken from thee my twilight's doubts and dreams, so now I take my light of utter day. There, these are my symbol kingdoms, but not here. Can the great choice be made that fixes fate, or utter the sanction of the voice supreme? Arise upon a ladder of greater worlds, to the infinity where no world can be, but not in the wide air where a greater life uplifts its mystery and its miracle, and not on the luminous peaks of summit mind, or in the hold where subtle matter spirit hides in its light of shimmering secrecies. Can there be heard the Eternal's firm command? that joins the head of destiny to its base. These only are the mediating links. Not theirs is the originating site, nor the fulfilling act or last support that bears perpetually the cosmic pile. Two are the powers that holds the ends of time. Spirit foresees, matter unfolds its thought. The dumb executor of God's decrees, omitting no iota and no dot. Agent unquestioning, inconscient, stark, evolving inevitably a charged content, intention of his force in time and space, in animate beings and inanimate things. Immutably it fulfills its ordered task. It cancels not a title of things done, unswerving from the oracular command. It alters not the steps of the unseen. If thou must indeed deliver man and earth, on the spiritual heights look down on life, discover the truth of God and man and world. Then do thy task, knowing and seeing all. Page 695. Ascend, O soul, into thy timeless self. Choose destiny's curve and stamp thy will on time. He ended and upon the falling sound, a power went forth that shook the foundered spears, and loosed the stakes that hold the tents of form, absolved from vision's grip and folds of thought, wrapped from our sense like disappearing scenes in the stupendous theatre of space. The heaven worlds vanished in spiritual light. A movement was abroad, a cry, a word, beginningless in its vast discovery. Momentless in its unthinkable return, coiled in calm seas, she heard the eternal thought, rhythming itself abroad unutterably in spaceless orbits and on timeless roads. In an ineffable world, she lived fulfilled. An energy of the triune infinite in a measureless reality she dwelt, a rapture and a being and a force, a linked and myriad motioned plenitude, a virgin unity, a luminous spouse, housing a multitudinous embrace, to marry all in God's immense delight, bearing the eternity of every spirit, bearing the burden of universal love, a wonderful mother of unnumbered souls. All things she knew, all things imagined or willed. Prayer to the Spirit of Aurobindo. Dear Mother, we gather here on the Savitri reading and we aspire to be your perfect instrument. Let the light and the protection be with us, and thanks for being with us, Mother. Thank you. Whoa.